Now, from the Columbia Basin, your local news source, this is iFIBER 1 News, presented in high definition. The #1 source for real-time local news, local sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. With your iFIBER 1 News team, reporting news in real time as it's happening. From the iFIBER Communications HD broadcast studio in Ephrata, Washington, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Welcome to the iFIBER 1 News Weekend Edition. I'm Sarah Brewer with your news from around the Columbia Basin on Friday, May 31st. We will review some of the top stories for this week and a few of your favorites. And we have the latest weather forecast for the Columbia Basin from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. This week started off with a lot of things to do. Memorial Day weekend was busy and many people took the time to enjoy the Moses Lake Spring Festival.
There was way too much to see and do in downtown Moses Lake over the weekend. From the smorgasbord of treats,
and it just does its thing,
to lots of carnival fun. Judging by the looks on most faces, the Moses Lake Spring Festival didn't disappoint. All weekend long, blocks upon blocks of classic cars shone in the sometimes spotty sun, while just down the street at McCosh Park, there were lots of kids' activities and entertainment.
I would, if I could.
The 5th annual Moses Lake Skate Fest was put on at the nearby skate park by Mosaic skate shop owner Josh Mose. Mose said he had dozens of entrants of all ages this year from across central Washington.
It gives the kids something to look forward to, something to progress towards, and it just gives them an opportunity to have fun.
Skaters competed in beginner, intermediate, and advanced divisions.
Daniel 50-50 in the bench.
Competitors also lined several blocks of 3rd Avenue for the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Organizer Sean Salis said when he took on the job about 5 years ago, there were fewer than 40 teams involved.
We had 78 teams this year, between 3rd and 4th grade girls all the way up to men's competitive.
This year, they had to turn away 15 teams due to a lack of volunteer help, but the players who did compete got to do so under brand new hoops.
One guy said with the hoops that we had this year, the new Hoop Fest hoops, he's already got guys he's called that want to come and play just because they see us making it more, as a whole board, I'm on the board, so as a board of Spring Festival, we're trying to make it more professional, and this is just one step in that professionalism, and I think people are going to see that and know that we're real, and we're making it happen.
A couple blocks west, younger kids got a chance to display their art on the sidewalk. Distinguished young woman finalist Christiane Phillips helped judge the artwork. She also got involved herself.
I drew stick figures holding hands, and I had a little girl come up and go, "That's my mommy and daddy," and so we drew them to look like her folks, so it was adorable.
We got sunshine for the parade. We didn't have it yesterday. We got it today.
On Saturday evening, the 33rd annual Moonlight Parade rolled through the city with more than 100 entrants taking part.
Give it up. They also won the middle school award, first place.
For iFIBER 1 News with Bill Stevenson, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
The Grant County International Airport is making changes to accommodate bigger planes at the airport. Here with the story is Ryan Lancaster.
The big birds will soon have a new place to perch at the Port of Moses Lake. A $4.2 million ramp rehab project is well underway as crews with Acme Concrete Paving work on pouring a slab designed to hold a 1 million pound aircraft. Port Director of Facilities and Operations Rich Mueller says the East Terminal apron will accommodate aircraft that are getting larger all the time, such as the new Boeing 747-8. Boeing frequently does flight testing at the port, and the military uses the facility for heavyweight aircraft like the fully loaded C-17.
We wanted to have a dedicated place on the ramp where we knew we could park these newer, heavier aircraft, service these aircraft, get them back out in the air as soon as they need to be in without long-term damage to the surfaces.
Mueller says restoring the 60-year-old portion of ramp will attract more business to the airport.
We're actually pretty excited. This piece of pavement hasn't been usable for decades, literally decades, and we're very grateful to the FAA who felt that this project had merit because they funded 90% of it for us.
This is the second phase of the project, which kicked off 2 years ago.
We did this section over here behind me last year. This is for lighter aircraft, and this is dedicated for the heavier aircraft. So this has been a long time in the making, and we've actually been talking with the FAA about this probably for almost 5 years now.
Construction is expected to wrap up in later June.
Once this is out and solid and ready, we're going to let the world know that this million-pound piece of pavement is open for business, and we're going to see just who we can have come visit us.
For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Thanks to volunteer efforts, there's a new way to access and enjoy Moses Lake.
Moses Lake anglers have a new place to cast off thanks to more than 5 years of work by the Columbia Basin Walleye Club. Club members stood on the banks of Blue Heron Park Friday morning to watch the culmination of their efforts, a 120-foot-long pier that will be open to the public for fishing, sunbathing, birdwatching, and other activities. The pier was built by Quincy-based Delaron Flotation Systems, which donated much of the materials. Most of the remaining $150,000 prize tag was paid for by community members. Large donors included the Moses Lake Irrigation and Rehabilitation District, Moses Lake Conservation District, and Columbia Basin Foundation. The city pitched in about $33,000 last fall and took possession of the pier for future upkeep. Duncan Crane Service donated the time and equipment to put the 17,000-pound pier in the water last week. This is the first pier in the area that's accessible for people with disabilities. A dedication is planned for later this spring. Donations are still needed for things like lighting and benches. More info is available by calling Walleye Club Treasurer Janet Baker at 509-431-7048. For iFIBER 1 News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.
Thank you, Ryan. Each of the people you see here has warrants for their arrest and is wanted by various law enforcement agencies. If you see any of these people, the DOC asks that you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but to call the police. You can also call the Department of Corrections at 509-764-6180 during the day or 509-762-1160 after 5 p.m. And we'll be back after these messages with the latest from our iFIBER 1 Weather Center and more news.